Ian Wright and Martin Keown join us. We've dragged them out of the pub. Old Trafford is where we begin. It was 15 games unbeaten for Manchester United in all competitions. They faced second from bottom Bournemouth, who'd lost all 3 matches since football returned. Commentary comes from Steve Bauer.
And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer names an unchanged team for the 3rd league game in a row. Anthony Martial has 8 goals in his last 7 games at Old Trafford.
Who gets the shot in? And he's still going here, and he's managed to squeeze it in. Well, there is a surprise. Bournemouth, relegation-threatened Bournemouth, take the lead at Old Trafford. It's Junior Stanislas with his first goal of the season. And that could be a huge goal for them. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can't believe it. And Manchester United, who have had all of the ball, find themselves behind. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 1.
Yeah, what I would say is that's a brilliant goal, and Bournemouth, give them credit. There's 4 men in the area there, which is fine. Solanke makes a good run, falls to Stanislas, and this is lovely play. Nutmegs Harry Maguire.
Pogba strong against Lerma, and he's won the free kick here for Manchester United as well. Sort of stress. Well, plenty of options here. Marcus Rashford went for the corner, and Aaron Ramsdale made a really good flight. Crossed in by Shaw, and stabbed away by to keep that out. The corner swung in towards Victor Lindelof, who heads it over the bar. Got Rashford back there defending. Here's Stanislas with a chance to hit another one. Pogba's ball, Rashford's head on. Greenwood then beaten to it by the goalkeeper. And it's behind. Here's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who gets away from Stanislas, who just got something on that to deflect it behind.
He's behind a Bournemouth player.
So,
that's the right decision for me.
That was the right decision. Eventually, it got there. Bournemouth obviously took an early lead, and no central defender likes to be nutmegged. You're probably the same. And what about Harry Maguire?
Well, in fairness, I think they've had 5 sheets in the last 6 games, but it's happened to most players, and he'd be embarrassed with it.
That's great skill.
Yeah,
that's really good skill from him.
I would say if that happened to me, I think David Seaman would be getting a bit of a rollicking, because I think the keeper hasn't really helped him. It's a brilliant piece of skill there, imagination from Stanislas, but the keeper, I feel, should do a bit better, and of course Maguire will be unhappy as well.
Yeah. Eddie Howe, he was saying they need something special to get out of this.
They do. We know that he's done it, like, obviously lower leagues, but now I think they did show promise today. Lloyd Kelly was brilliant for me today, but yes, they're going to have to find something special.
And they're conceding goals.
Yes, they are.
OK, 4 games still to come.
These games panned out. There were 5 matches in all. It started at Carrow Road. Brighton boosted their own survival chances with that 1-0 win over the bottom club Canaries. It doesn't look good for the hosts, who are now 7 points adrift with 5 to play. Leicester got themselves a much-needed 3-0 win over Crystal Palace. Jamie Vardy scoring twice to reach a personal milestone of 100 Premier League goals. And there were 2 goals also for Mason Greenwood as Manchester United overcame second-bottom Bournemouth in an entertaining game, to say the least. It finished 5-2 to the Red Devils. Arsenal beat Wolves 2-0 to keep alive their Champions League hopes. And Chelsea won 3-0 over Watford at Stamford Bridge. And so to Manchester United, who've maintained their top 4 hopes with that convincing 5-2 win over Bournemouth. United were unchanged. It was the first time that they've been unchanged for 3 consecutive games in the Premier League since November 2006. 3 changes for Bournemouth. In come Lewis Cook, Diego Rico and Junior Stanislas. Your commentators, Phil Blacker and Jim Beglin.
Be happy with this afternoon. 5 goals and you're back in the top 4.
Yeah, but there's still games to be played today. But yeah, very, very happy with today. The energy in the team, the goals that we score, the will and intent to go forward. It's just too bad we couldn't get the fans inside, and I think that's a game for the fans. That's definitely one that the Stretford end would have enjoyed.
The entertainment value was very high. Of course, the strikers seem to be competing with one another. I was just saying that to Marcus Rashford.
No, they are on the same team and they're working towards one common goal, and that's for the team that we want to get as high as possible in the table. And that's one of the positive things about those forwards. They're good friends and good mates, and they keep challenging each other.
Yeah, I think since lockdown it's been a huge disappointment, because we thought we would come back with a stronger squad, less injuries, and hopefully that would make the difference for us, but it's gone the other way. We found it really difficult to to play with any kind of rhythm and fight that we would normally show. So we found that difficult, and this period is a real test of us.
And it doesn't get easier, does it? Spurs, Leicester, Manchester City, you fight on, of course.
It's the Premier League. It's the toughest league in the world. It's the hardest league. And if you're not at your very best, you will suffer, and that's where we are at the moment.
Much for Eddie Howe to ponder about, but for Manchester United, the first time they've won 3 successive Premier League games, they've hit form at clearly the right time, and they've got a front four that is probably the envy of many of teams in the Premier League right now.
Oh, they were sensational today. Bournemouth, I thought, done quite well in periods. But every time they went forward, you just thought they were going to create chances. And I think Ollie's right there in what he's saying. They are good friends on and off the pitch. And they play with so much energy. When I was go back to watching Van Gaal's Man United, it was slow, it was pedestrian, they were a hard watch. Jose, more or less the same thing. It's almost like this Man United side, even though it's in its infancy, it's like it's a great side to watch. And even though they're so attacking, it's actually quite nice that you feel as though the games are going to be so open, and they might concede 1 or 2 in the big games, but they're capable of scoring 4, 5s and 6s.
Yeah, unbeaten in 16 in all competitions now, Tim.
Yeah, I think early days of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it was quite boring to watch as well, especially when teams were sitting back against them. I think they overrun any team who wants to come out and play against them, like the Man Cities who they seem to beat quite comfortably.
Yeah.
They like playing against them because they've got pace on the counter-attack. But since they brought in that little genius Fernandes, he allows them now to keep possession. And now Pogba's back in the team, and their combination play, and all of a sudden they're bringing Greenwood into the fold. They got Martial, who looks like he's reborn, and Rashford, who's having a quiet time but still so effective. I keep saying it, they're 3 players short of challenging, in my opinion, for next season.
Okay. Well, let's get a fan's perspective as to what Manchester United produced at Old Trafford earlier. Thomas is a United fan. He sent us this report from Norway.
Hi, this is Thomas from Norway. Just watched the game against Bournemouth, 5-2 win, great win. Hit of the old, scoring 5, conceding 2, not happy with them. I don't think Bailly, Maguire and De Gea should be either. And the front 4 with Matic and Pogba behind them, fantastic. Fernandes, superlatives gone. Greenwood, man of the match. He's a legend in 10 years, I don't understand why. And after a slow start, we started great and controlled the game. And just looking forward to the next games and the next years with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as the manager, as we say here in Norway. So all good from Norway. Cheers.
Thank you for that, Thomas. Well, he talks about Mason Greenwood potentially being a club legend. 15 goals in all competitions. Not a bad return for an 18-year-old. And I tell you what, how talented is he for you?
He looks, I think every now and again, Manish, you come across a player and you watch a player, and you watch young players especially, and you think they've got so much room to develop. You can work on this and you work on that. With him, it's almost like at his tender age, he's nearly the finished article. And it's very few and far between you get these players. They're sort of once every 10 years you'll come across them. You might see 1 or 2 in Europe, but in the Premier League especially, when you get a teenager that's scoring goals and playing well and looks silky and the game comes easy to them, he looks as though he's going to have an unbelievable career.
Tim, sometimes managers are guilty of hyperbole. And, I suppose you've been in that position as well. Because, for so long now, Solskjaer says he is the best natural finisher we've got at Old Trafford. And I just thought he might be overcooking it a bit, but he might be onto something.
Well, the reason Ollie says that you've got to be very careful with different characters, but we can say that again to Mason Greenwood. And he can hear that because you know why? He's level-headed. The kid wants to improve. I watched him come through as a youth player. He has all of a sudden grown shoulders as well. He's 6 foot. He's getting wider by the day. Yeah, he's going to be a monster. He's going to be powerful as well. And once he grows into his body, the strength, he's got pace already. He's excellent off both feet. He's the nearest thing I've seen to Robin van Persie, the way he hits things off both feet. He's such a clean striker. His movement's great as well. He drifts wide to in. It's fantastic. It all looks great for Manchester United at the moment.
Yeah.